Good evening, dear delegates, guests present here. We welcome you to the Spotlight session, Building of a Nation. I'm sure all of you have been waiting for this session to start. The yogi mystic and visionary Sadhguru will be in conversation, and this is the opportunity for all of you to send in your questions at Infocom Connect, that is info in capitals, on Twitter. Connect with us on Infocom Connect page on Facebook. And the hashtag will be hashtag Ask Sadhguru. Ask will be capital, S will be capital, and the rest are all in smalls. And again, hashtag Infocom22. However, we have a couple of requests to make before we start off with our event, our Spotlight session, which is going to be very intense. And as you know, when Sadhguru starts speaking, he carries off in a very intense and passionate manner. So I will request everyone present here to settle down. And of course, we will request you again not to make any kind of movements in and out of this hall. That will be very disturbing for Sadhguru to speak. And there's a request from Sadhguru's team. Please do not record any videos. You may take some pictures, but please do not record any videos. Keep your mobiles on the silent mode. And of course, if you need to keep asking or tweeting about the conference, please do so. You're most welcome to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, as this is the last session, we once again would like to celebrate another milestone of the ABP group, which is the organizer of Infocom. We all know that the ABP group has completed 100 years. Let's take a look at a short AV that embodies the spirit of ABP's journey over the last 100 years.
Curiosity.
वो क्या?
That's what brought you here? जो तुम्हें यहाँ तक लाया।
The visionary Sadhguru is among the most influential personalities of our times. Let us take a look at his many missions that he has begun to benefit the environment, the youth, and the nation as a whole.
In the next half hour, you're going to meet a man who has a devoted following across India and indeed around the world. While yoga and meditation are at the core of his teachings to promote individual growth, the work of the foundation covers conservation, education and health. And you'll find him astonishingly pragmatic on a range of very modern-day problems. Let's meet Sadhguru.
For the very first time in the history of humanity, we have the necessary resource, we have the necessary capability, we have the necessary technology to address every human problem on the planet. Even 25 years ago, we couldn't have dealt with it. But the only thing that is missing is consciousness.
Today, the spotlight is on a project called Greenhouse in India.
We started a mass campaign and 6 years I spent planting trees in people's heads. That's the most difficult challenge. And now in the last 6 years we've been transplanting it, and that's happening much more easily. Action for Rural Rejuvenation is mainly aimed at rejuvenating the human spirit. This is an incredible movement that is starting in Tamil Nadu. We want to see that this happens to the whole country. The idea is not necessarily about developing public sport, but the important thing is to bring the spirit of sport and revitalizing rural societies.
ईशा आउटरीच वर्ष 2018 से राष्ट्रीय खेल प्रोत्साहन पुरस्कार से सम्मानित किया जाता है। सद्गुरु जगदीश वासुदेव, संस्थापक ईशा आउटरीच।
English and computer skills are very essential to make these children come out of the hopeless economic and social pit they are in.
If you could first tell our viewers what is the idea behind the initiative, Insight, which is more specific towards entrepreneurs.
Whatever the nature of your business, ultimately it is all about human well-being.
Isha Foundation, a non-religious, non-profit public service organisation headquartered in southern India.
We've engineered the outside world in so many ways, but we've done nothing about this one. If you want to know well-being, in is the only way out.
This is what I want to teach you too. That is, you can be completely intoxicated without any drug, just on life. This is a shift from wine to divine.
How can you love one and hate the other when the same divine exists in all? Spiritual process is not about looking up or looking down, it is about turning inward. See, the only thing that I'm really good at is just this. I can just make the air around me just crackle with energy. Adiyogi is the source of yoga, the first yoga.
Adiyogi will inspire many generations to take up yoga. One truly remarkable thing that Sadhguru had done is he had made yogis out of ordinary common people.
So we're tracking a mammoth movement, an incredible rally starting from Kanyakumari, reaching up to the Himalayas, with the sole purpose of rejuvenating India's rivers.
Every state is responding. This is concurrence and this is wonderful.
I'm very happy that Sadhguru has
taken up this cause, it should also become a people's movement. Movement for our own survival, for the survival of our children.
We are also launching another campaign for Kaveri Calling. These 83,000 square kilometers of Kaveri Basin. We want to bring it back at least 1/3 of it back into some kind of region.
ಪರಿಸರ ರಕ್ಷಣೆಯ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣ ಸಹಕಾರವನ್ನು ನೀಡುತ್ತಿದೆ.
அந்தர்ஜியோட எடுக்கின்ற முயற்சிக்கு நம்முடைய அரசு துணை நிற்கும்.
The whole purpose of this moment is to first to bring this home that when you walk upon the soil, you know it is the source of your life. Keeping it alive is the most important thing.
Will you make it happen?
All of us come from the same soil. All of us eat from the same soil. All of us die and go back to the same soil. The soil is a unifying force. Soil is not our property. It's a legacy that's come to us from previous generations, and we must pass it on as living soil for future generations.
The Sadhguru, one of the world's voices and leaders of soil conservation and lands.
It's extremely important. It must be a single point agenda, incentive-based agenda. I don't want this topic to end as one more convention with more paper and more paper. This must end with concrete action, and action in such a way that it is implementable. We are launching a campaign called Youth and Truth in the month of September. Youth and Truth, unplugged with Sadhguru. Ask whatever you want.
I want to know the truth about generation.
Technology.
Why do we have to proper restful in our place?
What is the meaning of competition both for individuals and society?
For every one of you, your life is precious, isn't it? This precious life, where are you going to invest it? What is it that will be worthwhile today and worthwhile after 50 years for me to invest myself into? You invest your life into that. This will be a life of fulfillment.
We have a different side. He's very good to us. Sadhguru has become his new friend of youth.
One important thing about Fashion for Peace is shifting back to natural fiber as much as possible. The way we dress is destroying the world. Textile has become the third largest polluter on the planet. The polyfiber is entered our bodies, it's entered our water, soil, our food cycle. This is not just about fashion. This is going to make millions of people's lives. If you have to describe yourself in one word, would you consider wildlife as two words or one word?
the Sadhguru for all his spiritual contribution.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will now request Mr. Dhruva Mukherjee, CEO of ABP Private Limited, to kindly come forward onto the stage and begin the session as the moderator of this spotlight session. Here he is. A round of applause for Mr. Dhruva Mukherjee, who is the CEO of ABP Private Limited. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Timothy, and thank you to all for taking time out of your busy schedule and being with us for this final session of Infocom. And we all know it's a very compelling reason why we are here, and that compelling reason is none other than Sadhguru. And I must say, I am an object of jealousy today because I got to be the moderator for this session. It's not my core competency. But any of you who've been a speaker or a moderator in a conference would know that relatively it is felt the moderator's job is easier than that of a speaker. But I'm reminded of Mahendra Singh Dhoni when he was once asked how he handles pressure in the death overs or in the slog overs. He said, I don't feel any pressure because the bowler knows he's bowling to Mahendra Singh Dhoni. The pressure is on him. So today, the pressure is all on me because the batsman is Sadhguru. So to just ease my pressure a bit, I have requested two gentlemen to be my co-panelists today, and they will help me further the interaction with Sadhguru, and of course, you will participate all the way. Tinath has already announced the email IDs and Twitter handles where you can send in your questions. By end of the session, we will select 3 or 4 questions and ask Sadhguru those questions on your behalf. So without any further ado, as the stage gets set up, I will quickly request my co-panelists to join me. The first gentleman I'd request to come on stage is Sunil Gupta. Those who have been attending Infocom for the last 3 days would have heard Mr. Gupta quite extensively and probably would know him by now very well, but still it's my duty to introduce him. And he's known as, I think that one line is good enough, he's known as the data center man of India. Sunil Gupta has built and operated the most third-party data centers in India. His efforts have been instrumental in India's data center growth story and have been recognized in the industry in the form of numerous accolades on domestic and global platforms. Sunil has been featured in the illustrious Data Economy's APAC 50 list and is one of the 100 personalities to watch out for in the next decade, who are poised to heavily influence the direction and transformation of the global data center and cloud markets. So when the world will get to know him and watch out for him, you would have already met him at Infocom. Keep that memory in your mind. With those words, can I welcome Mr. Sunil Gupta up on stage and request him to take a seat. The next gentleman I'd like to call is from our very own Calcutta, a gentleman who keeps an immensely low profile in Calcutta, but we all know him very well, and he's none other than Mr. Ravindra Chamaria. Armed with invaluable life experience, a passion for enterprise, and a desire to create winning collaborations, Mr. Ravindra Chamaria isn't your everyday stereotype businessman. As a first-generation entrepreneur, he has scripted several high successful businesses, both in India and abroad. The group name may be more familiar to you, Infinity Group. Infinity Group, under his chairmanship, has been living up to its name and maxim of creating infinite possibilities. And he keeps on doing it day in, day out. It's the Infinity banner with which his main project, Think Tank, catalyzed the Sector 5 of Calcutta. Those of you who know about Sector 5 will know. It was a very dormant suburb, and thanks to Infinity Group initiatives, it is now a vibrant and dynamic go-to address for many corporates in the country. He's also often credited with pioneering a green building movement in India. Under his leadership, Infinity has delivered path-breaking green projects such as Infinity Benchmark, Godrej Waterside, Infinity IT Lagoon, and Advance Family. But more importantly, as I said, he's a low-profile man who believes in giving back more than he receives from society. So with those words, can I ask Mr. Ravindra Chamaria to please come up and take a seat? Thank you, sir. Right. Finally, I think this is the worst part, and I don't know, it's my audacity to introduce the man we have been waiting for, Sadhguru. I really don't know why he needs an introduction or whether it's the right thing to do, but I've been given something to read out and I will do that as if you don't know, but still, maybe it'll help you refresh your knowledge about him. So he's a yogi, mystic, and visionary. That's how we actually know Sadhguru as 3 words. He's among the most influential of our times, and that is absolutely beyond any debate. A New York Times best-selling author, Sadhguru is acclaimed as a speaker and opinion maker of international renown. He is the only living Indian to have received 3 different presidential awards from 3 different presidents, and among which is India's highest annual civilian award, the Padma Vibhushan. 3 decades ago, Sadhguru founded Isha Foundation, we just saw a wonderful AV around that, a non-profit human service organization which is supported by over 17 million volunteers worldwide. As part of the Conscious Planet initiative, he has also launched the world's largest people movement, Save Soil, which has so far reached over 3.91 billion people, and we are still counting. I think this is an introduction, and no introduction can ever do justice to the man and his thoughts and his mind and his entire being. I think you'll agree with me if I say that Sadhguru cannot be introduced. He's a continuum. And we are very happy to have that continuum pass through Calcutta, pass through Infocom this year. And may I welcome, along with all of you, Sadhguru on stage. Right. Can I ask all of you to settle down? I know I would have done the same if I were at your place, so just control the child in you and stay calm. We will then start with the proceedings. You'll get your time for photographs later. Right. So, Sadhguru,
these days,
kindly,
the
1 minute
the N is missing. When I say, can I do a minute's chant, he thought I'm doing a 1 minute chat.
Sorry.
Jananam sukadham maranam karunam milanam maduram Smaranam karunam kalavashadiha sakalam karunam samayadipate Akilam Karunam. Namaskaram. Namaskaram.
Thank you so much. I think couldn't have been a better start to the session. Sadhguru, our theme this year for Infocom has been the age of change makers. We believe as the world is rebooting and moving forward, change and the change makers will play a big role in painting for us a hopeful and optimistic future. So I think it's only pertinent if I may start off by asking you that how do you interpret change as a word, because it's interpreted and misinterpreted in many ways. And also, if you may allow me to ask you that if there is one thing you would like to change in your life now, what would that be?
Well, I know change has become a very important word. People are even winning elections on just that one word, change. But it's very important. It's very important we understand that it must be a relevant change. Change for the sake of change could be disastrous. Lot of things are changing, not always for the good. So, to make this as a cultural phenomena, we must change, is a dangerous thing to do, because people will simply change everything without relevance, making profound things very profane and flaky in the world. Without change, we cannot exist. Change is a must. But what we must change, in what direction we must change, if this is not clear, simply changing just because everybody wants to be a process of change or agents of change may not be a very good idea. So, finding a balance between the foundations of life and what kind of fancy things we build on top of it is important. Changing everything all the time could lead us to a lot of trouble. Today, if we are talking about business and stuff, a lot of things need to change because technologies have come in. If you don't change, then you will be left behind. That change is a must. But there are many cultural aspects which should not change. They're changing too rapidly because somebody else found access to these technologies and economic capabilities ahead of you, and their ways are becoming your ways. Don't think you're changing, you're falling into a trap of becoming like somebody else. So, articulating change in a conscious way is very important. Simply compulsive sense of change, everybody must change, is not a good idea. I'm sorry if it's not a popular thing to say.
No. Thank you so much. And anything you would like to change in your life at this stage?
With me? Yeah. With myself? Yeah. Oh, I would like to be another 25 years younger than I am.
Thank you so much. I think Mr. Sunil Gupta ji, if you would like to ask something.
Hello. Yeah. Sadhguru, we are talking about building a…
Can I correct something for you?
Sir.
You're spelling the word yoga wrongly. No.
Maybe Yota has come from yoga.
No, his company is Yota, so I just thought…
So Sadhguru, we are talking about building a new, great, happy, prosperous nation. That's what we are all aspiring for. And digital technologies have pervaded our lives like anything. They have connected us, brought us closer, and they have made our life simpler and easier and efficient. And this pace of digitization is only going to increase with artificial machines taking over. This will bring a lot of good, but that may also bring some side effects as well. So, Sadhguru, as per you, what is the future of the future digital Indian society?
Future of the future. Well, without digitization, there is no future possibility to be of any significance in the world, there's no question about that. Having said that, what we want to digitize, what we don't want to, do we want to have everything indiscriminately digitized, is a choice that this generation has to make. It's a difficult choice to make, but I think we must make a conscientious choice, otherwise your home may get digitized a little bit too much that it may not feel like a home. You won't know the difference between the street and the home if everything becomes like that. So what we want to digitize, what we don't want to, we can see, but for a nation of our size and complexity, digitization is a boon, a greatest boon, because this is going to remove a lot of confusions, and as it's already been articulated, there is no point trying to punish those who are corrupt in the country, because if you do that, you may have to send 90% of the population to prison. So corruption is not a crime, it's become a culture. So if you want to change the culture, I think digitization is the best way to do it, so that there is no room for that, so that things are handled more transparently, so that at least corruption shrinks to its corner, not dance around everywhere as it is doing right now. Having said that, what will be the future for this nation? Recently, it's uncanny that you're asking that question. About 5 or 6 days ago, the IT minister of UAE, Mr. Omar, I can't get it to pronounce his name, I know him very well, and Omar said that the future of digitization in the world, in the next 5 years, it'll be in India. He's not wrong, I see it that way too. Definitely it'll be here because for a variety of reasons. We are a complex culture, or we are a kind of a, we're quite a colorful chaos most of the time. It's beautiful on one level, but sometimes it gets… when you want to get something done, it's tedious and, taxing and costs too much life to get things done in that atmosphere. So, it's very important digitization comes, that so many things, the systems that Indians… you can't put Indians into system, you have to put systems into Indians because Indians won't fit into any system, they're their own thing, everybody is a genius by himself. So, putting systems into every Indian is important. So, digitization is super important for every country, but particularly for this country, it is extremely important. If we don't do that in time, we could forsake a lot of future possibilities. So how do I see it? Well, right now, even to get a birth certificate, I'm going very basic, even to get a birth certificate or a death certificate, it's a huge complication. You have to go to the office many times after you're dead to get the certificate or you must have somebody who will run to the office up and down to get this certificate. So, we need to simplify life means this, if we want to enjoy the cultural chaos of India, it's important the functional aspects of India are digitized so that we can still enjoy the cultural chaos of who we are.
Thank you so much. I think, Mr. Chamaria, would you like to ask any question?
Sadhguru, I've been in the business of enterprise all my life. So by profession, a businessman who has tried to create wealth. My first question is, therefore, how can dharma and capitalism complement each other?
Dharma and?
Capitalism complement each other in the way best suited for 21st century India. And a corollary question to that is, what is our surging middle class and robust GDP, etc.? Is it also time for us to learn how to conduct our prosperity?
How to?
Conduct our prosperity.
Conduct our prosperity.
Sir.
See, the reason why an individual person or a society or a whole nation seeks prosperity or affluence is, in the beginning, when there is poverty, in the beginning, our idea of prosperity or our idea of affluence is, we must have a choice of nourishment. We can eat what we want. Once that is satisfied, then it is a choice of lifestyles. Lifestyles are chosen. The choice of lifestyles will come to you once you have affluence, but what kind of choices you make has to be a cultural process. Culturally, if we make something aspirational, when you have money, you will choose that. Right now, I'm not giving a commentary on the social situation, but just to bring it into perspective. See, for example, when I was growing up, in our homes, they're discussing marriage alliances for my cousin sisters and others who are older than me. And many times I've heard this, no, we can't give our girl to that family, in that family they drink. No question of giving our girl to that family, not that the boy is drinking, somebody in the family drinks, we can't give our girl there. Because once they're drunk, we don't know how they will behave, what they will do, this kind of thing. But today if you don't serve alcohol, nobody will come to your wedding, all right? This shift has happened in 35 to 40 years' time. So this has happened not because everybody wants alcohol, but drinking alcohol or walking around with a glass of wine or champagne has become aspirational. Because the Western cultures are doing it, we also want to do it. The symbol of affluence is you must carry at least a glass of champagne in your hand, even if your tongue doesn't like it, it doesn't matter, you must carry it in your hand, otherwise you're no good if you're carrying water. What are you? Hello? If you're just carrying a glass of water, you're just not good. So it's very important as affluence comes, our choice of how we express our life, how we find expression to our lives, those choices are cultivated and curated in the society. So in this culture, it's been like this, I'm sure some parts of Bengal also is like this. In Tamil Nadu, things are slowly changing, but still, if you go to a wedding, let's say, outside the big chowdhuries, you will see from a Mercedes to a Bentley to a Rolls-Royce, everything is parked. And there are also hundreds of TVS mopeds parked, all kinds of things parked. But if you go inside, everybody is just in white shirt and white dhoti. You can't make out who came in the Bentley, who came in the moped. Everybody is sitting there in the same way. Only if you look at the ladies section, who's got more kilograms of gold on them, you can kind of judge who is who. But even then you can't make out, some village lady may be wearing much more than somebody else who is far more affluent than them. So I'm saying, when our choices become like this, what we possess determines the value of our life, then affluence and prosperity will work against us. Prosperity is important as an enabler. It's very important that we are enabled with economic strength so that we can do what we want to do. But what do we want to do? All we want to do is get drunk or just buy more and more expensive things, try to live in 10 different places in the world at the same time. This is not an ideal of our nation. If we had time and energy, we went back home and stayed there. Now it's not like that. If you have 2 days, you want to fly to Caribbean. If you have 3 days, you want to go to Vegas. If you have 4 days, you want to go into Alps or whatever. It's become a compulsive thing. These are all cultivated by commercial forces, that if you have time, you must go there. It is not necessarily a basic need in everybody else, but if your neighbor is making 5 foreign trips a year, if you don't make it, you feel like you're no good. If you're just happy eating your dal roti in your house, you feel like a fool. So it's very, very important. What kind of expression we find for our prosperity is very important. We should not allow other cultures which are suffering what they are doing right now seriously, and commercial forces to decide how we should find expression to the prosperity that we achieve, because to take a person or a family or a society or a nation from poverty to affluence, there is enormous hard work, there's a lot of sacrifice, there is an ecological cost to it. After doing all that, most people are not even happy, they're suffering all kinds of things. Now prosperity has gone waste because it doesn't come easy, so much sacrifice has gone into it, so many things have been sacrificed for the sake of prosperity, but if prosperity does not become a great enabler and becomes an impediment in your life, which you are seeing for lots of second, third generation, prosperity is becoming a great impediment even for normal development of those human beings. This is happening everywhere in the world. I hope we don't go the same way. It's very important we don't go the same way, because in this country, if you look back at a few generations, the richest people also lived very simple life, but they used their money as an enabler to create more things, to impact more people, to create the facility that is needed for everybody's well-being. I'm not talking about charity or philanthropy, I'm talking about… Today it is not through charity that you can serve life. It is by creating the right kind of businesses, right kind of products that you can serve the world. So, when I say you can serve the world, serve is not just by giving away something, by creating solutions in the world. So, today we must look at our prosperity carefully, and if you want to use the term dharma for that, definitely, we must understand dharma is not a religion as it is being projected today. The word dharma means the law. What are the laws which govern certain aspects of life? This is why they're talking about different dharmas, family dharma, raj dharma, this dharma, that dharma. What it means is, what are the fundamental realities of that aspect of life? How should we deal with that? This is dharma. Dharma is not my religion versus your religion. These are laws which are there in nature. By observation, you realize if you do something this way, it works. If you do it another way, it doesn't work. So business has its own dharma. For example, I'm sure this was true here also some time ago, even today in southern India, it's largely preserved, at least in some parts, or at least in some trades at least it is preserved. People, commonly many times I've seen this, somebody brings one bag and keeps it here next to him and says, "1 that means 1 rupee, that means it's 1 crore. Just leaves it there, 1 rupee, okay, and goes. No paper, no proof, no nothing, okay? All transactions are done just like this. I'm telling you, life becomes so easy if you could trust the transaction that you're doing. Otherwise it becomes so complicated, everything, and the amount of stress that you go through, what is going to happen, what is going to happen. So bringing that, as prosperity comes, bringing an enormous sense of trust into the business community is very important. Then everybody's lives become easier. As our lives become easier, our ability to do things can be greatly enhanced, which is very important.
Right. Thank you so much, Sadhguru. Just a related question to what you said, I'm just reacting. On one hand, you said that, digitization is inevitable, and pretty much, on the other hand, as you said, we can just live life on the natural principles of trust. But on the other hand, we are seeing digitization is actually intruding your lives in a way where pretty much everything has to be accountable.
If I can correct the question, sir. Natural principle of trust, no. In nature, there is no trust. Everybody eats everybody.
Okay.
In human societies, we must create trust.
Okay. Okay, I stand corrected. But in a human society where we are talking of transactions based on trust, and on the other hand, when digital economy is actually trying to make you accountable to the last penny, and everything has to be disclosed or you're, kind of questioned and scrutinized, do you think there is a mismatch in that, and is there a way out in this, or way forward on this?
No, I feel it's perfectly in alignment. That's why I said, you can't go about fixing every little corruption that's happening in the country, because it's no more like 5 people out of 1,000 people doing it. It is 900 people out of 1,000 people in some way are corrupt. Either they have succumbed to it or they started as enterprising corrupt people, whichever way they are. Maybe most of you are people who have succumbed to it at some point, because otherwise I know you cannot run a damn business. You cannot even run a spiritual institution without yielding to it somewhere. Yes, I'm telling you, unfortunately it's true. Unfortunately, it is true. You think you can buy a piece of land or sell a piece of land without taking care of somebody, you cannot. It's your land, but you can't do it. Somebody will put a spanner in the works. Anything that you want to do, this is there. So digitization will eliminate that. Transforming every corrupt person into a honest person, that's a dream, but hasn't come true. But digitization could do that it eliminates that possibility altogether. So if you and me can sit together, this is my table, you want to buy it. Digitally, if we can buy it, transaction is over, we don't have to go to any office, nobody comes in between, it's done, all right? So in that sense, it is not against each other, it is very much in alignment that see, this is one thing we must understand.
Thank you so
If
much.
if you put the very best person into a wrong system, slowly he will go bad. Even if you take a very negative person, put him into the right system, slowly he will get corrected. So creating right systems is as important. Thinking that great people will come and they'll fix everything, that is also needed to some extent, but creating a system which is transparent, there is no room for such things, is as important as trying to cultivate honest and clean people.
Thank you so much for the clarification. I think I'll move to Mr. Gupta. I think as a business leader, is there a question that you have?
Yeah.
He's building clouds, sir, not…
Clouds, yeah. He'll come with a helicopter view, I think.
Sadhguru, what is your guidance for the business leaders of today, people like us, to nurture the next generation, the bubbling new generation with lots of energy? How do we convert them into ethical, impactful leaders of tomorrow?
I think one most important thing is you must break the education system, because education system has become an extruder system. You take every kind of people, put it into a pipeline, press them all into one form and they all fall out as the same product. This is going to destroy all genius in the world. This is going to destroy all creativity in the world. In India, we've gotten into this madness that everybody should go through academic education. Different people have aptitude for different things. Everybody should become a PhD, it's a nonsensical idea. And those PhDs, I'm telling you, I know so many people, some 15 or 17 universities have offered me PhDs. I said, for what? No, we want to give you. I said, the worst thing for me is to be called Dr. Sadhguru, that's the last thing I want. What are you going to give me PhD for? No, simply we will give you. So, there are all kinds of theses which people have written, which is just trash, which nobody reads, fortunately. Nobody reads this, it's all packed and kept somewhere, it's just waste of paper, that's all it is. Because somebody wants to earn 2 alphabets, which is supposed to be some kind of a passage through the society. These things have to socially also change, that when you don't value it, they will not go and try to get the doctorate, you know. It's important. So, why I'm saying you must crack the education system is, we're just breeding children in the wrong direction, that it's all about one being better than the other. From kindergarten, it's all about how you should be on top of everybody else. If I sit on top of you, I'll be above the cloud, that's a dangerous place. So, if I want to be above you, then I must do the same things that you are doing. I can't do anything that I want to do or I'm capable of doing. So this whole thing is bred from a very early age. And essentially, when you ask your children, are you first rank or second rank? Essentially, you are seeing, cultivating a child who will enjoy other people's failure. Somebody else is below you, that's the only thing you enjoy. I think that sickness is causing a lot of… many manifestations of that is happening in the society. So, we must crack the education if we are really interested in creating a new generation which is free from all these prejudices, free from this sickness that the only pleasure I have is I'm better than you. This is sick. You know, recently, before the Save Soil journey, I was in United States campaigning for support there. And there is a young man around me and he's running around like his tail is on fire. I look at him and say, hey, what is it that you're trying to do here? He said, I want to earn $1 billion, Sadhguru, I want to earn $1 billion. I said, don't worry about that, come tomorrow morning, I'll give you $1 billion. He said, yes, you'll give me $1 billion? Yes, I'll come tomorrow at this time, I'll give you. He had come with 8 of his friends. I said, see these 8 guys over here, I'm going to give all of them $10 billion. Sadhguru, why you're giving 10 to them, only 1 to me? Arey, just now you told me your life's dream is to have $1 billion. Now if they're getting 10, you can't be happy? So this madness has gotten into us. Human beings will not explore who they are, what they're capable of. They will not unfold their genius if they're trapped in this, I want to somehow be better than this guy all the time. Sickness. If you want to cure this sickness, we need to transform the education. But we have millions and millions of children. Can we really create ideal schools? We are doing with a few hundred children, very transformed education system, but can we scale it up? No. If you want to maintain the quality, you can't scale it up. If you scale it up, it'll become mechanical process. See, first of all, we need to understand a child, a human child, compared to other creatures, my numbers are just off the cuff, not really exact numbers, but approximately like this. For every other creature, nature fixes everything about them up to 90%. 90% they're fixed by nature. 10% latitude to develop their own little individual nature. With the human being, only 10% is fixed, 90% is by nurture. When this is the case, how you nurture your children becomes the most vital thing. Now, parents can't be at home because both father and mother have to work. It's nuclear families, there is nobody at home. At school, they're all professionals who just come to and go home. A child grows up in an uncared for atmosphere and he will create an uncared for world. Prosperity is not going to fix that. It's very important we create a caring and a concerned society. That will not happen when children grow up in uncared for societies or especially uncared for schools. So if this has to change, we need to change the way we are educating children. Everybody has to go through 12 plus 2 plus 3 or whatever. This is not necessary. It is necessary, different people should train for different things. Everybody has to go through academics. What will everybody do learning tidbits of physics, chemistry, mathematics? What will you learn? What will you do with it? When I went to school, I just couldn't figure out what is it that they wanted out of me. One guy comes and talks about biology, I get interested and I start thinking about it. 45 minutes later, they ring the bell, another guy comes and starts talking mathematics. I can't understand because I'm still thinking biology. My mind is totally gone into biology and this guy is talking this. Before I think, what is he counting? Is he counting plants, seeds, trees? What is he counting? Already they're talking chemistry, somebody is talking literature. This is madness. This is not education. This is just madness. Nobody has any profound involvement in any subject, simply something, education, everybody got a number, everybody's got a degree. This is a meaningless form of education. It's very, very important. I know you can't change the entire world. Each one of you in your own way, in whatever capacity you can do, if you do that, it is good because I know there is a compulsory education law, but there are ways to break it. See, if a farmer's son wants to go to the farm during the harvesting season or the planting season and learn about that, he's not allowed, his father will be arrested if he takes his son because it's child labor. With this kind, we will lose everything. We have made a survey in the country. Not even 2% of the farmers want their children to become farmers right now. In another 25 years, who is going to grow this food for you which is right now so assured? Hello? With 1.4 billion people who know how to make this magic of transforming mud into food, if they are gone, what will you do? But this is how we are educating everybody going to education. Today there are millions of youth in the age group of 18 to 23, 24, because out of false, misplaced compassion we have done this, that up to 9th standard in most states, you don't have to pass an exam, you keep going from class to class. Today I can show you millions of children who are in this age group of 17 to 23, who are in 9th standard, 10th standard, and then they drop out, but they can't add 2 plus 2. They have the attitude of the educated. They're wearing blue denims, that means they must be educated. But they don't know nothing, because they are passed without any real, test of any kind. This is done because children were dropping out. Yes, we want to educate, but what kind of education? Simply something that came from elsewhere, simply rubbing it on such a large population, we could convert this tremendous demographic dividend that we have into a disaster if we do not skill the youth. If you don't skill the youth, you kill this nation.
Thank you, sir. I think that note, Sadhguru, I read somewhere that you yourself was not very keen to follow a post-secondary education, and your parents nudged you to follow it, and then of course you got enrolled in Mysore University, you topped it also, but is this coming from the same experience that you talked about, the disillusionment of what education comes?
No, I was not disillusioned, I was engaged with something else, so I didn't go to school.
Right, so maybe that's a topic for another day. Mr. Chamaria, coming back to you, you espouse a lot of causes and you work in the society on that. You want to ask Sadhguru on anything in particular?
Yes, you have been doing campaign on this Save the Soil. My question is, sir, what prompted you to do this campaign? And also, how do you convert your, cause into a mission which the whole world responds to?
Oh. Can I tell you a small story, sir?
Please. Sir.
There was one lady in southern India, her name was Sitamma. Sitamma used to make paisam. You know what's paisam? Paisam? Yes. Those who don't know, you're yet to taste life, okay? So Sitamma was making paisam. If people ate this paisam, they were mesmerized by the taste. So Sitamma's paisam became so famous. People started doing research on it, because in India there is a problem like this right now. Our idea of startup is still not mature, it's going all over the place. Because this happened in Bangalore, before the pandemic, $500 million were invested in food apps in Bangalore. How many food apps do Bangalore people need to get their food from the restaurants? Maybe 5, not $500 million worth of apps. Nearly 90% of them got wiped out within 8 months. So our startup culture is still not mature, it needs to mature, wanting to create solutions, not doing what somebody else is doing. So everybody wanted to start a paisam factory because Sitamma's paisam is very famous. They researched, they found all the ingredients, they bought the ingredients from the same place, did so many concoctions, but nobody's paisam turned out like Sitamma's paisam. Then not knowing what to do, they went to her only to find out the secret. Then they asked her, what is the secret? That nobody, whatever anybody does, nobody's paisam tastes like yours. She looked at them bewildered and said, I just throw myself into it, that's all. That's all with me also. I just throw myself into it, absolutely. Not holding back anything. That could be the last thing I do in my life. But we do it not for what will happen after this, will I survive this, will I not survive this? There is no such thought in my mind. When I do something, today what I'm doing, I throw myself into it if this is the last thing I do. And you also, I'm asking you, whatever you're doing today, how do you know that is not the last thing you may do? You have some guarantee about tomorrow? Anybody's come with a guarantee card, I'm asking? Hello? Anybody has come with a guarantee card that you will see tomorrow's sunrise? No. I am always conscious about this, so today I do it really well. I don't know if tomorrow comes, I'll handle that. So, whatever is important, whatever I see as important, I will make sure, especially if it's important, it should succeed, isn't it? Why means, see, I've been living here on this planet for over 6.5 decades. I know what's happening around me. People ask me, are you a soil scientist? Are you an environmentalist? Are you an ecologist? Are you this, you are that? I'm none of those things. I'm like a worm who crawls in the soil. Tell me, a worm knows more about the soil or a soil scientist? Maybe intellectually not articulated, but a worm knows more about everything that's happening there, isn't it? Similarly, you must be alive. This is also one more reason I'm saying we must crack the education is distancing people from the life process. If you're alive to life around you, how can you miss what's happening around you? How can you miss all the life disappearing? Do you have to read statistic? No, if you pay attention, it's all there. It's simply there. If you just take a walk around in the rural Bengal, if you were here 50 years ago and today if you take a walk around, you know how much destruction has happened, isn't it? Do you have to read a book on that? Do you have to collect statistics? Maybe to articulate you need statistics, but to know you don't need all that because it's clearly there. Human experience is very important, but human beings are largely not experiencing life. Most of the time they're busy with their own psychological drama, their own thought and emotion has become a cosmos by itself, that they have completely shut themselves off from creation. There is no experience of creation. So, everywhere I go, this has been happening in university, everything, where did you study, where did you study? Suddenly they want to know which university I went to. He said, I went to Mysore University. Yes, I went to the university, but rarely entered the classroom. That's why I know so much about the soil, because I sat in the garden. I sat in the garden. So, I have been in this world, everything is… anybody can know, you don't need any extrasensory perceptions to know this. If you have attention, you can know. There is no attention. Right now, this is one more thing when it comes to attention. We think information is everything. See, information empowers you for your survival. Information does not open anything big. It's the keenness of attention which opens up everything. But there is no room for attention, as I said. Somebody comes and talks mathematics, next they talk literature, next they talk chemistry, next they talk biology. Where is the attention? I started my life like this. When I was 4.5 years of age, I suddenly realized I don't know anything. Everybody around me seems to be knowledgeable, but I do not know anything. If you give me a glass of water, I don't know what is water. I'm staring at this water for 1 or 2 hours, trying to figure out what it is. I know I can drink this water, I know how to use this water, but I don't know what is water. Do you know even today? Even today you do not know what is water. If I found a leaf, I'm sitting with for 4 or 5 hours, still I don't know what is the leaf. If I sit up in my bed, I'm just staring at the darkness for the whole night. My dear father, being a physician, started thinking I need psychiatric evaluation. This boy is always staring at something. It looks like he's lost it. My problem is, I look at this, I still don't know this. I'm not able to move my attention to something else because I still don't know this one. The value of attention has been completely destroyed by the education system. I must tell you this because you're all business people. Andrew Carnegie is somebody you've heard of. Andrew Carnegie was making so much money in his time that it looked absurd. It's not like today there are Zuckerbergers and Musks and others, where in a matter of 2 years they're $100 billion, something, whatever, leave that. That's a different kind of thing, the world has changed in a different way. But at that time, there were steps as to how much money you can make. But this guy was leaping through all the steps and making enormous wealth. So the government became suspicious that he may be committing some crime. They set up an investigation by the Congress committee. So they investigated him thoroughly and they didn't find anything wrong. Then they asked, how do you make so much money? He said, see, I can hold my attention on something 5 minutes at a stretch. Can any of you do that? They said, oh, what's the problem with 5 minutes, we can do it. He set up an experiment. Nobody could pay attention for something more than 5 to 10 seconds. Then he said, you should not be running United States. Because human attention can open up any aspect of the universe. Without attention, information, what is information? What is already known? Hello? We are eulogizing this era of information. Yes, for those who are not capable of knowing, disseminating information is important. But those who want to explore, those who want to unlock things, information is not the thing, attention is the real thing. Information is a step or a stage on which we are sitting. We must stand on it and look at something else. But right now, information has become like quicksands, people are sinking into it. They are covered with information all the time. No, you must stand on the information that you have and develop a keen sense of attention. Education should orient itself towards attention, otherwise enhancing human attention, because human attention can break through anything, unlock anything in this universe, if it is keen enough.
Thank you. Thank you so much. For the sake of time, we'll do just one question before we go to the audience. One final question from you, Mr. Gupta.
Sadhguru, history tells us that any progress, evolution of a nation brings along with its conflict. We can see that happening even in today's world, and manifestations of that are visible in today's India as well. So, can peace and progress coexist in today's India?
I don't see where history says that. Those in the past, many nations have progressed by unleashing violence on some other nation, all right? But there was no violence in their nation. But a time has come, almost all territories where you could unleash violence are largely over. The only piece of land that is left is probably Central Asia, so now they are doing it there. Otherwise, almost all the other places are kind of over. Either they've been conquered, captured or developed or ruined, whichever way, they are finished. Conflict is only possible in Central Asia, so we've already gotten there quick. We didn't wait for long. After the pandemic, we were afraid, before another pandemic comes, we must be there. So we are on. So leaving that aside, I don't think it is a right thing to say progress will come only with violence. I would say, if you do not create a peaceful and stable platform, progress will not happen. See, in this society, for example, India, if you do not give… See, there is no society which is absolutely peaceful, there is no such thing. There are issues everywhere, small things are there. But will we keep it small or will we make it into a big flare is our social competence and management and politics and everything. If we do not create an image that this is a law-abiding society, there is no violence and everything is fine, you think people would want to invest in your country, I'm asking. Hello? Hello? It's a question. No. But right now we have this issue, I was just talking to somebody. See, somebody is burning a bus in Delhi, unfortunately. They travel by the same bus and they burn it and tomorrow they complain there is no bus. They burn the bus. Now there are 230 or 240 television channels in the country and there is of course online social media stuff. Now that bus burns across the world. Across the world that one bus burns in everybody's eyes and it looks like the whole India is burning. It's very important. If you have a wound in your body, do you go about exhibiting it to everybody on the street? You cover it and see how to heal this. Hello? That's a sensible way of doing things. Not that our nation is free of everything, there are many issues. Do we want to paint ourselves with that and show it to the whole world? Here is our problems, look at this. Some of us are busy doing this all the time. We don't know what their agenda is. People say so many things, conspiracies and works, leave that aside. But I'm saying, every one of us, if we don't see how to create a peaceful and stable society, just the digital cloud is not going to do it. We need a peaceful society to enjoy the digital cloud, all right? So it is very, very wrong for us to think that if prosperity happens, violence will happen. No. Only when peace happens, prosperity happens. It's the other way around.
Thank you. Samaria, your final question.
Sir, at every level, everybody wants to do better and better. And like government, industry, doctors, everybody put together. And looks like that the collective effort will bring dividends of a lifespan of 10-15 years, extended lifespan. How one individual can handle that extended lifestyle?
Extra life, how to handle?
Lifespan, 10-15 years lifespan.
So the first question I thought I answered, if they can make me 25 years younger, because there's so much work to do. So extra life, how to handle? See, I must… see, this is not a business question, this is a very existential question. What do I do with my extra time I get? Okay, if I live to be 90 or 100, what do I do? Because they used to retire you when you were 56 years of age. Now if you're not in the government, maybe it's 65 or something, is it generally? So after that, what do you do with your 30 years or 20 years or whatever you live? Because physically you may not be as competent, you may not be in total disarray, even if you keep yourself well, still your competence, physical competence will go down in some way. Having said that, can I tell you a little anecdote, sir? This happened. When I was just about 2.5 years of age, because my mother, it seems, had some ill health at that time, and I was the last of the 4 children, so little too much for her to handle, so they handed me over to my aunt's place in my ancestral home. I loved it because parents are always trying to bring you up. Aunts will want to play with you. Grandmothers and aunts want to play with you. Mothers and fathers want to shape you up in some way. So I really enjoyed that, I stayed there for nearly 2 years. And my aunt of mine was only 19 years of age, she was just married, a very exuberant, joyful, extremely loving human being. She took me as her own and we became really good friends. After that I came back to my dad's place, but I always maintained a relationship with her, not like my aunt, she was my buddy, always. But after a certain time I got too busy with my work, I'm not really meeting any relatives and friends because I'm traveling all the time. Then she fell ill. Some tuberculosis in the brain, something happened. And the last few months, when she became ill, her life went on normal. Her marriage, children, children are cute. Girls got married well, boy went to America, standard dream, Indian dream happened for her. But towards the end of her life, maybe last 12, 14 months or 18 months, something like this, she became such a wreck because she knew she's going to die. Unfortunately, I couldn't allocate too much time, I met her a couple of times, but there was no time to really take her on in any serious way. Then I saw what a wonderful person she was, how she became this wreck. Her only problem is, she couldn't come to terms that life is going to end. Life is going to end means, the life that you know is your body, your thought and emotion, and people around you. This is your life. All this is going to end, and it makes you into such a wreck. Death is the most obvious situation in our life, but it breaks somebody down like this. That's when I launched this movement called One Drop Spirituality. Across Tamil Nadu, Oru Sottu Anmikam, we started. Everybody must have at least one drop. What does it mean, one drop spirituality? First of all, spiritual process means just this, that you are experiencing, not believing, not a psychological process, not a social process. Within your experience is not limited to your body and your psychological process. You have at least one little spot which is beyond these two things. If this little spot was there, you would confront your mortality very gracefully. But everything that you know is going to just vanish. How to live with that? You cannot live with that. So, spiritual process is a very elementary thing. It is not a thing that you do at the end of your life. It's a very elementary thing. This is why in this culture, from the time you're born, every ritual, everything that you did is talking about mukti, mukti, mukti. Because if you do not attain to this liberation within yourself, from your own physiological and psychological processes, if you are not free from that, then you don't know what to do, and you might have lived a very creative and wonderful life. Towards the end, you become such a miserable nonsense simply because you don't know how to handle the most inevitable aspect of our life, which is our mortal nature. So it is very important that it should not start in that last 15 years. See, if you buy a phone, all of you have a phone? This lady is showing it to me. You have a phone, right? Is that a smartphone or a dumb phone? Smartphone. See, you say something is smart or someone is smart only if they are smarter than you, isn't it? Yes. So when you got your phone, should you read the user's manual within the first 3 days or after 3 years when you're discarding it? Hello? When should you read it? Within the first 3 days. So when should you explore the spiritual dimension of who you are? At the earliest possible time, not just before you leave, okay? It's very important. But it doesn't matter if you didn't start early, sometime you can start. That sometime need not be tomorrow, it must be today. Because spirituality does not mean going to the temple, going to the heaven, doing this and that. It's about turning inward to know this life as deeply as possible. Because it is true with your phone, the more you know about it, the better you can use it, isn't it? Why is that not true about this? The more you know about this, the better you can use it.
Sadhguru, we've had a few questions coming from audience. I'd like to acknowledge that. If Shayani Das from Brilio Technologies, you're here, you can just stand up and I'll read out your question if you're here in the auditorium. Shayani Das. Okay, great. Thank you, ma'am. I'll just read out your question. Correct me if I'm going wrong. But your question is very simple. Is tolerance a virtue? Is what she's asking.
Tolerance. Is tolerance a virtue? Tell me, what's her name? Sheila?
Shayani.
Shayani, you married? No, okay. They are giving all kinds of meanings, I didn't say anything. See, Sayoni, let's say you're going to your friend's house every day and you're spending time there and coming home. After 1 year, you realized they were actually tolerating you. Is it a virtue for you, I'm asking? If they had told you, just get out of this place, it would have been better, isn't it so? Hello? If they didn't want you, if they had told you, just get out, 1 day of hurt, you would be out and you would be okay. But for 1 year, they tolerated you. Very painful, isn't it? So don't tolerate anybody. People want some dignity of acceptance. Nobody needs to be tolerated. If you're not your kind, do namaskaram and move. Hello? No need to tolerate. Tolerance is not a virtue, but unfortunately it's being promoted. There are countries where there is a ministry of tolerance. Once it so happened, a minister was sitting in the front row. I know he's some minister in some country. I didn't know what minister he is. He's a prominent person in the nation, I know that much, and I'm speaking. Somebody else asked similar question and I went and ripped the tolerance apart. Then post that meeting, they come to the dinner table and say, "This is our tolerance minister." I said, "So you are not Bengal's tolerance minister, right?" Okay, that's…
Right. I move on to the next question, and this is from Ravindra Chaudhary. If you're in the auditorium, can you stand up, Ravindra Chaudhary? Oh, you're there. Thank you, sir. Your question is how to teach everyone to give back to the nation, because giving back is not something which happens in a very noble course. Am I right? Is that your question? Right, good. Thank you.
How to give back to the nation?
How to inspire, he's saying teach, I would say he's basically talking about how do you inspire everyone to give back, and because it's
to
not
the country, to the nation.
To the country, yeah.
I think the nation should form a sensible and dynamic tax policy. Which we have been trying to do. That's the whole idea of moving to GST, so that without feeling robbed, it's seeping away, it is seeping away in every transaction, lump sum, you don't have to pay with a painful heart, it's seeping away everywhere. So, please sit down, sir, I'm sorry. See, this is very important. See, a lot of these things, I mean, these two things are related, because in the world, this new age, these kind of philosophies are floating around, tolerance, giving back, doing this. I'm saying, there is nothing to give back, because first of all, when you came as a life, when you came, you didn't bring anything. So, what is there with you, you must keep it to the extent it's necessary for you. Rest is naturally… Hello? Not necessarily philanthropy. Even when you structure a business, you can structure it in such a way that is useful for everybody, isn't it? I take it from you and then I give it back to you, then I want you to say thank you. Why all this problem? Unnecessary complications of obligations, not necessary, nothing to give back. Can you take it? Is there a container service at the end? With your funeral, is there a container going, I'm asking? No. So what is there to give back? Anyway, it'll be taken back. If you're if you're sensible, you'll keep what you need, rest will be going where it has to go. What you need may be different from what somebody else needs. Maybe you need this much, maybe I need this much, it's okay, we don't have to make judgments about that. Different people may have different needs, but everybody must look at this. How much do I need? Your own survival process, it doesn't matter whether you're a small business, big business, just an employee somewhere, it doesn't matter. All of you must decide, where is my need? And fix that. Get to that as quickly as possible, so that the rest of your life you will do what you really care to do. It's very important. All your life you do survival till you're 70, 80 years, you're just doing survival process. What is that? That is a creature's life, not a human being's life, isn't it? You know, I was in United States and there is a big argument there. When Jesus comes back next time, where will he come? Big debates, radio debates, television debates happening. Especially at that time when Mitt Romney was standing for election or he was looking for the ticket, it became so, amplified. I couldn't believe it that actually on the television and radio you can debate where Jesus is going to come. Because somebody believes he will come in Missouri, somebody generally believes he will come in the Olive Mount of Jerusalem. Big serious debates happening on radios and televisions. I thought even in India this can't happen, you know. Then somebody asked me, Sadhguru, where do you think Jesus will come? I said, see, the last time he came in Jerusalem, he said, come follow me. Only 12 people followed him. That too, one guy freaked on him, so only 11 you can count. Now in America, if he comes and says, come follow me, even if you want to go, you have 15-year student loan, 20-year car loan, 40-year house loan, where will you go? You can only go to the bank, you can't go anywhere else. So you structure your life like this and you will come up with all kinds of philosophies, I must give back, I must do this, don't do all this. You decide, it is your judgment. Like that boy was going about saying, I need $1 billion. If your goal is 100 billion, do it. It's up to you. I will not decide that number. I need this much of economic well-being for me to live well. This is what I need. You decide what that is. Try to get there as quickly as possible. After that, do what you really care for, what matters to you. If you do genuinely what matters to you, believe me, it'll matter to everybody.
There have been a lot of questions which are coming to me, but I think a lot of that has been already discussed during the discourse, so I'm ignoring a few of them. I hope you'll excuse me for that because we don't want repetition. I'll just finish with one final question, maybe a little personal but interesting. Sadhguru, Sanjay Prasad from CSC, are you here? Can you stand up? Yeah, thank you, sir. His question is, what would you like to be in your next incarnation and why?
Oh. No, sir, I've decided this is my last trip around here. Really, I'm not saying this in jest, I'm saying this very seriously. This is my last round.
Yes. I think we all concur that there can be only one Sadhguru. I think that's where it is, reincarnation's quite irrelevant. I think I speak for everybody, so thank you so much for your time. And listening to you like rejuvenates us, it just recharges us for the life ahead. Whatever takeaways you have given, I think I don't have the audacity to sum it up out here, but it'll remain with us. And if we are able to do justice to our lives, we will always be grateful to you for showing us the way. So on behalf of all of us, I would like to thank you, and we'd like to all hand over on behalf of all of us a small token of appreciation. As you know, this is the…
As 5th December is the World Soil Day,
yeah,
we are launching a whole movement to bring it up. As already it's been said that over 81 nations are forming policies and the remaining are going, but we are concerned about the pace at which they will do it. So keep the pace up. We are reigniting a whole movement across the world because this is also footballing season. We are using the football as a way to do things, and we want all of you… I've kicked this ball already and it'll get launched on 5th December. Many celebrities and important people around the world are kicking the ball and making videos, and the Save Soil ball has to roll everywhere on the planet. I want you also to be part of it because Bengal has a footballing culture. Now if I kick the ball, if you head it straight back to me, I will give you a little bit of South Indian soil. How is that?
No, we can't. We'll try it.
That's okay.
Right. I think we are pretty used to football and playing game. Once again? No? Okay, one more chance.
Why?
Okay.
You're going to head
So
it
people
back
who
to me?
couldn't catch were from outside Bengal, so. Right, you've done it. You want to give it back?
No, he's a goalkeeper.
Right. So, a small token of appreciation from our side. As you know, this is AVP centenary year, so this is a small memento for that.
Oh.
It's a symbol of Shakti.
I know, but why they took off his brains, sir?
No, so the brains is something that you give us here, the rest is here. Right, so what we have decided is, in all of you are wanting a photo, just for memory, we will have a group photo, but it's not possible for all of you to come. So we will turn, and a photographer will take a photo with Sadhguru and all of you out here. So just stand there, right? And we'll take a group photo, it'll be put up in the portal, please take it back. We'll come back to you later, one second. Just do this photo.
Hey, don't call him uncle, he'll get angry.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Come down. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskaram.
May I request everyone to kindly stand for the national anthem?
There is a national anthem. Can we all get back to your seats? We'll end the session, which is Building of the Nation, with a national anthem. Can you please go back to your seats? You can do after photograph after.
Please join us for the national anthem now, and everyone can be a part of it by standing back.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधितरंगा तव शुभ नामे गावे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन जन मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
Ladies and gentlemen, I request everyone to kindly remain seated while Sadhguruji leaves. Thank you very much. We request everyone to please remain seated and in the hall. Thank you.